Hello, this is Roman from the Chess Video Guide channel. I'm looking at another tactical endgame. It's one of the games I had annotated for my recent Kindle book, and it's another game from the 2003, very long time ago, World Youth Championship. Another game by a future Grandmaster, Kurnosov, who unfortunately died last year. So he was playing with the white pieces, and here white has an extra piece, a lot of space, and black is just barely hanging on there. And so with his last move, bishop to d3, white created a pretty obvious threat of sacrificing a bishop here and winning this rook in return. So this would obviously be very good for white. 2 rooks is better than 1. So black has to stop this, and the only way to reasonably do that is, of course, to play g6, temporarily blocking up that diagonal. But we'll see that the threat and this idea of pressure on the diagonal and utilizing the extra piece, it remains. So now it would be, strategically a mistake to exchange on g6 because, well, for several reasons. White, if he's trying to win this game, and he is, he should try to keep as much material on the board as possible. And every pawn matters. If you have a piece for a bunch of pawns, you have very few pawns left, and you should try to keep pawns on the board so that they can turn into a queen, because there's really no other way to win this this endgame. And while from the computer point of view there isn't much difference between exchanging on g6 and pushing the pawn, for any human experienced player it of course by automatic reactions to push the pawn to h6. So black responds naturally by taking on c5. So now he has 4 pawns for the bishop, and he seems to be doing well, but he only has 1 active piece and white has 3. So that gives white some hope to play for a win here. And he plays a natural move, coming with the rook to the 7th rank, possibly threatening to take on a7. Of course not yet, but just activating a rook. And here black had to find the really crucial resort. He had to figure out that this pawn is the major enemy in this position, and he had to do all he can just to give this check, go rook h1, and then get that pawn back. Instead, he rather naively tried to well, he thought that this pawn is very important, because if that pawn's gone, white's gonna have a passer, and that's dangerous. But actually this a pawn isn't going anywhere, and this far advanced pawn is actually much more dangerous. So it was crucial to go rook here with check, king goes up, then the rook goes here, and black is holding on because he will be able to destroy this pawn on h6 and survive. Instead he made a crucial mistake, and the game, I should say, the game would probably be equal, normal common sense moves like this could follow. And the play is very sharp. It's unclear who's gonna prevail here. It's a pawn race, you can't really tell. A computer can't really tell easily, and a human player can't tell who's gonna be quicker here in this race. And regardless of who is better in that line, that must have been preferred. That should have been preferred, because after a5, white has a very, very elegant way to wrap up this game that heavily relies on that h6 pawn. So bishop takes on g6. Even though it's an endgame, sacrifices are still possible in some rare cases, and that's one of them. what is the idea? Well, the idea is that if he takes, the h pawn goes, and white's winning a rook, because if black goes here, well, any trivial move, something simple like this would obviously win, because the pawn promotes. If he takes with the f pawn, again the h pawn plays a key role. It seems like now it is being blocked by the h pawn, but bit of a glitch here. So that, however, is not a problem, because white plays rook to g7, and after the retreat of the king, it's checkmate. So basically that means that black has no way to recapture on g6, but that is not the end of the trouble. Not only white has won the pawn, he continues the threats. Bishop f7 is the biggest threat now, and not really clear how you can defend that. So is bishop h7. But say if black plays something silly like a4, as if nothing's happening, there's just simple checkmate, and the rook cannot take because of the pin. So after retreat of the king, it is mate. So therefore black has to defend f7, but it's all too late. Now white can take on h7 and win the rook, and the rook is a big deal. Like the black pawns are not going anywhere. There's no counterplay that black has whatsoever, and the position is resignable, so black resigned. So this illustrates that combinations are possible in the endgame. It shows that pawns that are pushed far, like far advanced pawns, even if they're blockaded, in combination with the bishop that attacks pawns of that color, like say here, the pawns are on the light squares, the black pawns, and the white bishop is also working on the light squares. That makes this h pawn very dangerous. And finally it shows that as long as there are still at least two pairs of rooks on the board, the endgame isn't quite the endgame. The king can get into trouble, and the king can get checkmated, and we should all be recognizing such positions, and be aware of the dangers that the opponent might subject our king to. Thanks for watching.